and welcome back. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We are going to be reviewing a single product. It is a dedicated video. It's unsponsored, it's just for interest's sake. We tried a new foundation from one of our favorite brands and we both had very different experiences with it, and we thought that that would be interesting for you, so that's why we're here. The product in question is the Bobbi Brown Skin Longwear Weightless Foundation, SPF 15. It says full cover, oil-free shine control. So this is a long-lasting, full coverage foundation, and it is designed for normal to oily skin. Like I said, we had very different reactions and experiences with the product, so we'll get into that just now. For now, we're just going to take you through what the brand says about it. In South Africa, it costs 635 Rand, which is fairly spicy, and it is a 30 ml bottle. It does come in 30 shades, however, which is pretty impressive. And it does, the shades are true to, it kind of is across the board. So if you already know your shade, you don't need to get shade matched, you can just pick it up. I'm warm beige in this one, and I'm warm beige in the Skin Foundation Stick and every other foundation that I've used. So very good to know.
Yeah.
Now I'm just going to take you through what the brand says about the product. So it claims to be a multi-dimensional matte that reflects light to enhance the skin's natural contours and dimension. So in other words, not a completely flat kind of dusty matte. It is meant to be balanced and comfortable, so it controls oil and shine while it hydrates for a balanced, comfortable feel. And it's long lasting. It says all day wear, a 16-hour formula that's waterproof and sweat and humidity resistant. Plus it won't crease or streak. So I suppose now we get into our two experiences with it. It's designed for my skin type, but I'll let Camilla start.
Okay, so not designed for me. I'm on the drier side, so when this arrived I had reservations because I just thought, first of all, I hate a matte finish on me, and I also find long wearing foundations can be very drying. And I found it to be quite tight on application. You know, when you put something on, it feels like it's kind of shrink wrapping your skin a little bit, like it just felt like
it sits.
Yeah, and it
should do as a long wearing foundation.
Absolutely, which, you know, was to be expected. And I just thought, oh man, I've got to now spend the whole day feeling really uncomfortable and tight and whatever. But after about, I'd say, an hour, my natural oils had kind of come through a little bit, and it was really super comfortable. And actually, I thought the finish was really glowy. I didn't think it was matte at all. From a coverage perspective, I think it's good. It's not full coverage. It's not as high coverage as Estee Lauder Double Wear, but it is kind of medium, and it is buildable, so you can increase it to the level that you want it to be. So if it's spotty, one layer will do an okay job of covering, but then if I go in with a second layer around the area that I'm spotty, it will cover it almost completely. So that's good to know if you're someone who has blemishes or kind of imperfections that you want to cover. I do find that it does wear in the most mobile parts of my face, so if I'm talking a lot at work, it will start to break down kind of around my muzzle area.
It's always the spot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of, this is the death zone for foundation. The rest of your face doesn't really move as much, so it won't be disrupted as easily. I haven't really set it with a powder just because I feel like that would be overkill for my skin type and I don't want to look powdery.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it needs powder.
No. The finish is, on me, quite tacky. It doesn't dry down to like completely silky finish, and so you can, if you touch your skin, you can definitely feel that it's there. It's not one of those foundations that kind of
it's not a velvet finish.
No, definitely not. But I have to say I really like it. I think it's my favorite foundation of the moment, and I've really been enjoying using it. And when I had my Vital injector treatment, which is saved on our Instagram highlights reel if you want to go and check that out, this was the only thing that could cover the discoloration and like the kind of mottled appearance of my skin. Like you saw me the day after.
Yeah.
When it was kind of at its worst, and Julia barely even noticed.
Yeah.
So I think that's a real testament to how good this is.
Okay, so I made some notes on my phone, so excuse me while I quickly read those. So I've broken my experience down into pros and cons. I'll start by saying that it is a heavier foundation than I'm used to wearing, and that is actually normally my preference. By that I mean it looks a little bit heavy for me. I like a very lightweight, invisible finish on my skin. This, while it is very lightweight and it is completely comfortable, it's there and you can see that it's there. It's not an invisible finish. So I don't know how you get away from that though with a full coverage foundation. I don't really think there is any, I mean, Double Wear certainly isn't like that.
No.
Like, you know, there is a certain amount you have to put up with if you need something that is long wearing and full coverage. So that was the first thing. So I'm going to go through the pros quickly. It does doesn't transfer. It does set, and I do find that it doesn't, it definitely doesn't pick up if you touch your face, and it doesn't tend to kind of fade on me. I really like that it comes with a pump top, and indeed it should at that price, and for a luxury brand. In fact, all foundations should come with pump tops, but we all know that isn't true, and certainly Double Wear doesn't have a pump top.
No, you can buy it for like an extra $100.
Sure.
Naughty.
The colour range I think is excellent, but then again there is something that Bobbi Brown has been committed to for a long time. They've always had a very wide shade range with a variety of undertones as well, and when we went and had our colours matched in store, which is how we decided which colours we were, I found the service very professional and easygoing. Yeah, it was really, really nice, and they weren't pushy at all, which is a huge thing.
It didn't feel overwhelming. I think even we, when we go to beauty counters, sometimes feel like they're waiting, like they're going to pounce on us.
Yeah, and I actually get a bit irritable sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, please leave me alone. Trust me, I know more about this product than you do. Like, it just drives me insane. Anyway, the lady at the counter was an absolute dream.
And a total babe.
Complete babe. The coverage is very buildable. So as much as it's called a full coverage foundation, and you can certainly get it to that point, like Camilla said, I find that if you only use one pump, for example, and it is a small pump, we were talking about that it dispenses quite a small amount of product at a time, which I think is probably a good thing. One pump will give a fairly sheer layer to the skin.
If you mixed it with something kind of like a hydrating base or something that had a bit of luminous, like illuminating primer or something.
Like I can still see my freckles through it under one fairly light layer. So I think that's really nice, and it means that it can be an everyday foundation if you don't want something that's super full coverage, but equally, let's say you're going to a special event and you want something that's got more kind of full whack of pigment, you can build it up to that. So I do think that's a really, really nice feature of the foundation. Okay, and then just to go on to the cons, I find the glass bottle very heavy. It's completely down to your personal preference. I love a plastic squeezy tube or container for foundation. I find glass bottles, it's the kind of thing I'll drop and break and the foundation will go everywhere, and they're just also by nature very, very heavy. It's the kind of thing I would never pack to go away, for example. I would always automatically take a plastic squeezy container. I don't love the glass bottle. Strangely enough, even though I have the skin type that this foundation is designed for, I found it a little bit drying. I have to pack on a super juicy base for this to work on me. My skin is, at the moment, it's probably normal combination as opposed to oily combination. It's fairly balanced at the moment, and I don't have a lot of oil production, but also the weather is cooler, so that's a factor. I just find that if I use my regular moisturizer, which just sinks away into nothing and doesn't leave any kind of juicy base on the skin, it doesn't have enough hydration for me. So I think if you're very oily, that means that this foundation would probably be amazing on you. But if you are kind of dancing around the normal to dry area, I would suggest using something very nice and hydrating and moisturizing underneath. Strangely enough, having said that, what I found is that it doesn't work well with an oil base. If I use an oily, or if let's say I use a beauty oil, very, very light layer of it on my skin underneath the foundation, it makes it look super shiny. So it's not just that they don't mesh as formulas, it's actually that the final effect is really, really shiny. So when I say juicy base, I mean something very nourishing, or maybe like the J1 Jelly Pack primer that I really like, that's very hydrating and kind of shiny looking, but it isn't actually an oil-based product. So just keep that in mind if you are playing around with it.
I also find typically if you do use an oil before you apply your foundation, it does break the formula down quicker.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, it does. You won't get the full. So it's all good and well mixing something oilier in with a long-wearing foundation to give it more glow, but it does mean that the long-wearing aspect of the foundation is then compromised.
Completely.
You're not going to get that like solid days coverage without any breakdown.
Yeah.
So that's something you need to decide.
Yeah. So for me, it doesn't matter because I never wear my foundation for 16 hours. I never wear it for more than 6 hours, to be honest. So that doesn't matter so much for me. It's more about finish. Yeah. So those are my thoughts. Personally speaking, it's not something I would buy for myself. Like I said, one of the most important things for me is finish. I really like something that looks invisible on the skin. So for me, it's not something I would go out and buy for myself. It's the kind of thing you probably would.
I wouldn't. I would buy the skin foundation stick from Bobbi Brown.
I was going to ask how you...
It's also cheaper, and it is, I think, a more universally friendly product. I don't know. It's just easier to use. You swipe it on. The finish is gorgeous. It's long wearing. I just think it's a really, really fabulous foundation.
Yeah.
And that for me would be my number one pick from the Bobbi Brown foundation range at this time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, skin is really, really good. So, yes, those
Yeah.
are our thoughts on the foundation. If you have tried it, please let us know in the comments what you thought, what your skin type is. I think it's really helpful to have as many different people's feedback as possible when people are considering buying a foundation, especially one that, let's be honest, is on the pricey side.
Yes.
So, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, shoot us a message and we will see you guys soon.
Thank you for watching.
Bye!